Okay, as Barbara said, my name is Dan Cook. I've been a member since 1977. I'm going to start off like Larry did and tell you how I got into doing art. And really, I think if you picked everybody here, I think 99% of us have the same story. I had a lazy eye, so they used to put a patch over my other eye, my good eye, and make me look at colors. And I got so into colors that it kind of brought me into drawing. And like Larry, we didn't have paper either. And I used to, on paper bags, anything my mother had, I would draw on. So when I finally went to school and so on and so forth, I was going to go like everybody else to the Queens School, Bryant, or Long Island City School in Queens. But I was picked out of a group in them days. They still might do this. The art teacher submitted me to an art high school in Manhattan, School of Industrial Art. I don't know if anybody, I think they call it Art and Design today. They changed the name. But so I got accepted into that, and I took the big mistake. I took advertising, and I got caught up into advertising. When I graduated from there, I got a job with an advertising agency as a go-for. I was, you know, anything the dirty work, I did it. I finally worked my way into doing some what we call spot drawings, pen and inks, and then I stayed there about a year, and I got a job with DC Comics doing inking, just doing the inking. I didn't do the drawing. I didn't come up with the idea. Somebody else did. I would get their artwork, and then they, in some cases, they would leave it to my discretion what should be inked, dark, and not. And I did that for like another year, doing the inking. From that point, I was getting a little claustrophobic. I found out I didn't like to work in offices. So I got a job with the Metropolitan Art, the museum, as working as with the curator, doing art jobs. Mostly, actually, I vacuumed the mummies. That's what I did. It was my main job.
Yeah. You never know where your training will bring you.
You never know.
You get a good vacuum, they're going to be gone.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, most of the mummies that they have, well, you know, I think they've changed the law, but at that time you couldn't display a dead body in New York. So that's why they kept it, you know, covered. But the bodies themselves have rubies in their skulls that the skin had grown over, but you can't take it. You know, you can't touch it anymore. Yeah. They have their own police force, and they're very stringent on their things. They have their own jail, and you would be surprised. They go down about 6 floors in that museum, and it's all personnel that work for the museum. They have their own jail. They have their own police department. They're with the New York City Police Department. They don't fool around with nobody. You do something wrong in there, you're going into one of the cells until the New York PD pick you up.
That's incredible.
It is. When you see it in the works, you realize how incredible it really is. You know, the funny thing is, you go to the museum and you see the outside of it, and you just, oh, here's the pictures, and there's the guy standing there, and la la la, and you walk out the door. But really, I'm telling you, there's a lot. It's very complex. And downstairs also, what you see up on the floors is nothing compared to what they have downstairs. They have like long hallways that are longer than the building itself, that go back with stacks of boxes of artifacts that they haven't even displayed. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff down there.
It's like national treasure in there, right?
It's like Indiana Jones, you know, when you went into that thing and you saw all the boxes. That's what it looks like down there, right? So anyway, I got drafted. I'm sorry.
At the Metropolitan?
That's at the Met, Yeah, at the Metropolitan. I worked a little bit at the Museum of Natural History with a friend of mine too. We did some background work for the animals and stuff like that.
Vacuumed the dinosaurs.
Yeah, well, with the tigers they have and stuff. We just did like the mountains in the back and stuff like that. Yeah. So anyway, I got drafted and I wound up in the Army. And when I was in there, I had extended myself. I went to Ranger School, and I was in between schools, and I was doing portraits of the guys in the barracks. And a colonel came in, he saw me doing the portraits, and he said, "Oh, gee, you know, you're pretty good." And he said, "Well, gee, would you do my wife?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" You know, I'm waiting to go get out of here anyway. I was supposed to go to Japan, but I wound up in Vietnam. But the thing is, I wound up through him in the engineer outfit, because I have a photographic memory. I can remember, we got to talking, I got to doing things, and they even tested me on this and stuff. And I can just remember wherever I've been and just sit down and start drawing it. At that time, they didn't have satellites. Don't forget, they didn't have the satellites, and they couldn't, they weren't dropping Agent Orange. This was in the beginning. And so we went out in patrols and used to do the drawings, and we'd have surveyors with us and everything, and we'd go as far up to Cambodia as we could, whatever. Anyway, so that I got into that. Then I got out of the Army. I got a job with Papa Mechanics. I don't know how I wound up there. I think I was desperate for a job. And I think it was my comic book experience got me in there. And I did Ben Day work. Does anybody know what Ben Day is here? Mike, you know what Ben Day is?
No.
You don't,
Never heard
huh?
of it.
It's a rub down.
It's a rub down, yeah. It rub down, and you can do different things. It has dots on it, and you can switch it around and make it look like metal. You can do many things with the Ben Day, and then you actually draw with the Ben Day. And I was doing that for mechanical drawings. In Papa Mechanics, I think about 90% of the ideas that they got were from convicts. And most of them didn't know how to draw, but they knew what they were talking about. They would just do it on a piece of paper and mail it to you. And then I would do the drawing from what they sent. And maybe it was, who knows, a shaft or something like that. And they wanted it to look like a metal part. So you would ink out, you would draw the shaft, then you would ink it out, all mechanical work, all rulers and all kinds of stuff, and then you would Ben Day it out. You'd use the Ben Day instead of, because it printed better, I think it was. The idea of it was the Ben Day printed where the ink, if you used wash, it didn't come out as good in the printing. They didn't have the ideal printing that they have today. So from there I got disgusted, and I went with the Navy Department, and I was working in the Navy Department in the Brooklyn Navy Yard as a mechanical drawer, which I hated. I was starting to get labeled as a mechanical drawer. And then they wanted to send me back to Vietnam, and I said, "That's it, I quit." And I already did 17 months there. I wasn't going back. And my wife, had told me, she was very smart, she said, "Why don't you take all the city tests?" And, I said, "Well, I'll try, I'll see what happens." I did, I took the city test, I wound up fire department. Mike will tell you, he was a lieutenant in the fire department. And I retired from there. And then after I retired, and I finally started growing up and saying what I want to be when I get old enough, I finally realized I wanted to do art, this type of art. Gallery art, and I really enjoy this. I enjoy doing artwork. I've done a lot of teaching. I haven't done teaching in a while. I've just been busy with doing other things, family things. But I have done teaching, and basically I've gone to galleries. I've sold out of galleries. I've sold out of Boston. I had a show in Lincoln Center, and a few other things. I had a fortunate deal where I sold the painting in the Royal Academy of Art in England.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, it was really, it
Wow.
was a lucky thing. I was in the right place at the right time. And,
Admirable, really.
yeah, it's something, it looks good, but it wasn't, believe me, anybody here could have sold that painting in there. And, so I got into a few galleries, and I'm trying to calm down, because I'm a person from that experience such a wide range and doing different medias that I'm not I never was really a Long Island artist, and if you want to sell on Long Island, you have to do Long Island art. You know, they're not going to take a wolf up in the Colorado. I have to go to Colorado to sell that. So, I mean, Larry would tell you, right, Larry? Don't you have to do Long Island art if you want to sell here. You have to, wherever you are selling, if you're upstate or wherever, or on Long, wherever you are, that's what will sell. You know, if you're in Colorado, this will sell. I had never ever gone to Colorado, so I don't know. You know, maybe someday I'll bring it there and sell it. But, so now I'm kind of like, you know,
Gearing down.
right, gearing down to one thing, and I hope it works out for me anyway. I love art. I absolutely love art. I think we all do here. Or we wouldn't be here. And it's, you know, not much I can tell. I can, what I will go into is like, I make all this up. So, when I do it, I start off with nothing. I just start off with an idea. And then I have to take that idea, and it's a little tough because now I don't have colors that I don't know what colors I'm going to use. I don't know what the composition's going to be. I don't know anything about this painting except that I want to do a wolf. So what I do is I lay it out on tracing paper. I lay out my whole composition on tracing paper. And I know that this is going to change many times before I even get it onto the canvas, and I do it on the canvas itself. It will change because I'm never satisfied. I do the painting, I put it somewhere in my house where I'm always going to take, it's not going to be in my way, but I can always see it when I walk through the room, and I'm constantly thinking of that painting, constantly. I could be out on the road somewhere, and I'm thinking about that painting. And I'll say, oh yeah, I forgot, you know, oh yeah, I should have done that. And then I'll come back and I'll look and I'll work it out on the canvas until I want. I've changed that mountain, I don't know how many times. It was, you know, it was a little tricky, you know, with a point like that. But I did a little research in mountains that are in Colorado and the mountains, and they do come up like that. So it's not unusual, but when you put it in a painting, you know, don't forget this is the subject matter, and you're trying to make everything, the composition go around. I'm trying to keep you on this canvas. So everything on here, I have to work it out so that your eye starts around, comes around, and goes around and just stays here and not leaves the canvas. So that's with this. This is an oil.